What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Kindred. Episode, I think, 8 it is.
I think it's
Uh,
been a while. Yeah,
it's
episode 8.
episode 8. It's been a while since we've been on. It is wonderful to quasi see you in a way, but
Well, I thought as much as I have the face for radio, the idea of having a paint cam could be interesting for a session to give some of our viewers something besides our beautiful mustaches to look at. So
truly, you are such a handsome man, GP, but also this is really cool because you are also such a truly wonderful painter.
we do what we
Uh,
can.
If you haven't seen GP's Instagram, I'll put that in the show notes to check it out because his Votann, his Knights, his GSC, all of them are just. Do you do everything? I just realized. Do you like primarily do stuff in white?
You see, that's the thing everybody teases me for.
I
Every
just
single
realized
one of
that.
my armies is white. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What an unforgiving color
I
to paint with.
glutton for punishment, but my cases are funny to look at because you'll go down. They all have different basing, but every army is white in some way.
Dude, that's so
Even
funny.
even my world eaters, they're all white. So
You will eat us. Before we get in, how the heck are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's been one of those things, busy as heck with work.
Yes.
So we've been having a fun couple quarters here. For any of the listeners, I basically do content creation within a internal technology space. So when I'm not recording fun videos like this, I'm recording fun videos for other people elsewhere. So I've been super busy doing that. But then, hey, in the free time, I've still been playing a lot of the old World of Warcraft.
Dude, the man's
But
addicted.
I missed out. I wasn't able to go to BFS this year because I had to go to Atlanta for a work trip. So that ended up not working out for me. But I was able to get a couple games in with some of my assorted armies over the last few weeks. And honestly, I'm really excited. I think with the new upcoming missions, some of the things they've been showing us, with some of the new units we're starting to get out, that's going to add some more variety, specifically even some of the Votann ones that we're going to be talking about here. I think that the game in general is in some really fun spots. So I think I'm doing good, and even more, I'm looking forward to a big old 40K summer. You know what I'm saying?
That's my guy. I love to hear it. Yeah, it was sad to not see you at BFS. That would have been super fun to just get a hang.
Yeah,
It would have been more fun to like just completely stomp you, but it like obviously it would have been more fun to hang out with my bud too.
for sure. And listen, it's one of those things that I really wanted to go. Luckily, my team did well.
Yeah.
Shout out
Which
to
who
yeah,
was
shout
it?
out to BFS Chimera. We came in
Oh, dude,
second
yeah,
without
dude,
me.
Chimera killed, dude. Chimera's a
Oh
great.
yeah, listen, the boys, they are so very good. I still helped, and we did a whole bunch of skirmishes to practice. I played Votann for all of our practice games to help them learn some of those matchups there. Glad that I was testing some of the triple hecaton lists when we were doing testing, because that's kind of come into play lately as a really popular Votann list.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely talk about that because I have some thoughts and opinions on kind of why we're seeing that. But yeah, dude, I think first off, sorry to everyone that's been so. It's been about like a month and a half or so since we've done a video. Like GP said, busy at work. Completely feel the same. Work has been kind of crazy, and also like now that summer's here,
Mm-hmm.
personally, I very much summer boy. I like camping, I like hiking, I like going to the beach. Me and my partner,
Sure.
we do a lot of those things together, and work is always so crazy that in our free time, what we're doing is trying to relax. You know what I mean? Also,
Yeah, man.
I've been learning Italian, which is I've been
Ooh.
doing a lot of classes. I like my extracurriculars are very funny. I play with plastic dolls, I learn Italian, and I make pizza.
That's
Two out of
great.
three of those things are actually all three of them are really funny when you think about it. But also, I felt kind of funny since I moved over. Like BFS kind of like threw me off of like a Votann mindset because I was only thinking about pressure and about world leaders pressure and like my mindset
Sure.
of. And the funny thing I've learned when I played BFS, which actually I'll even kind of go into like BFS a little bit, just like a quick little thing. But like what I learned about playing an army like world leaders is hilariously enough, it is a similar play style as Votann in a way. One is obviously melee, one is shooting. I have a bunch of scouts that I'm deploying in a way that if
Mhm.
I either go first, I will be able to be aggressive, or if I go second, I get to hide them behind terrain. I have fast moving, hard hitting units. Granted, melee as opposed to shooting. I will say shooting is a little more forgiving because if you fail a charge with a melee army, you're just sitting there like flapping in the wind. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
You're just stuck. You're stuck. So it has. I will say, playing a more melee focused army has made me a better player because just some of the things you have to think about in regards to staging, how you're allocating your attacks and damage and everything, has been nuts. But
Oh,
BFS
for
was so
sure.
fun.
And I
BFS
mean, and
was
that's
like
one
a
of the things
blast.
we'd mentioned that in similar episodes too, where the idea of, it obviously a privileged position, but when you have the ability to have multiple armies or just practice, or if you go to a buddy's house, you can just borrow one of theirs if they have an extra
Yes.
one. Getting those variants and play styles grows you as a player.
I 100% agree. And so yeah, BFS was tons of fun. I about a month out from BFS decided I was switching from Votann to World Leaders because I just felt like personally, and my team too. And I think if you look at any kind of results for Votann in a team setting, there's not a very good teams faction right now. When you go play teams, you definitely want to make sure that you're bringing armies that have specific counters. And truly, I don't think Votann specifically counter any of the meta armies that you would bring to a teams tournament. Right?
That, so
They're not a good flex army.
that's one of my favorite things that I think is new for a lot of us in the US specifically. So teams in the US has not always been the most populous or the most played event style. And I know with WTC out in Europe, it's been much more popular for a longer period of time. But in recent years, there's been large pushes in the States for us to start doing more team events. And granted, a lot of it might be because things are logistics. You're only going to have a few teams per state, being able to travel between
Yeah,
states. It can be a nightmare in the US to get around everywhere,
truly.
especially because we don't have like trains or infrastructure to
Right in the
really get.
UK, you have a rail that goes everywhere. Like you could do
Ye-
a team tournament from the north to the south and easy.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, if you want to do a team event in Texas, you might have some guys that drive 6 hours from one side of Texas to the other
Yeah,
side of Texas, right?
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
But team events have had a surge in popularity in the
Yes,
States now, and it is a completely different metagame than
I love
playing
it. It's my
singles.
favorite, dude. I'll tell you this right now. The last few months of getting ready for BFS and playing BFS has been some of my most favorite Warhammer I've done since I
Oh,
started in
fully
2020.
agree. Especially if your team has a human computer for a captain.
Dude, that's
Like,
what I. Yes, man. So
dude,
big shout out to Luke, our captain. Homeboy he's a physics teacher by day. So like
yep.
all the spreadsheets we had, spreadsheets on spreadsheets. You know what I mean? He
Oh,
had math
it,
formulas in there. Like if you, how's your pairing into this? Okay, great. If you put in, you think you'll have a 15-5, then it goes to, it's like nuts. It was nuts.
Yep, huge shout out to Dan Woolmuth on our team as well. Him and his wife had so much work prepared for us. He's an engineer by day, and we
Beautiful.
had pairings matrixes.
Yeah, the
We were
Matrix, baby.
pulling raw data at a. It was so good, and the decisions he was able to make just so impressive.
I really quickly, I want to, I'll just like mention my BFS run, even though, and then the world leaders will be done, even though GP is painting world leader. I can't wait for Andy B, Johnny Pips,
Love him.
what the hell is his stupid name? Midwest Sixes King
Oh yeah.
of, Midwest King of Sixes. I hate you. To make fun of us so much for our world leaders
Hey,
podcast now.
with some of the stuff we'll be talking out in a little bit, I think next month I might have some short kings on my table to be painted. I've already painted the whole army.
Truly, truly, truly. But like, so hilariously enough, I had a great time. Our team, unfortunately, we didn't do too well fully as the team. I lost my first two games and then smashed my last three games, which was expected. Our first pairing GP was into Art of War, so
Yep.
everyone got 20 0'd except for or I think it was our Custodes player. I think he tied with Quentin, who was on Tyranids.
The Art
So
of War
yeah,
boys are just, first of all, just to give them a shout out. Not only are they incredible, but they are just gentlemen.
the sweetest. Oh my
Oh,
god, the sweetest dudes. So I played
yep.
against one of the best GSC players in the world and got Alex McDougall out of Canada. I think he's actually Team Canada for WC. I don't even know. Dude is
Yeah,
nasty.
he's pretty good.
Gave me a master class in how to get stomped. Also, I did fail a 4-inch charge with Angron and a 5-inch charge with my Berserker. So that was a real fun time. After that, like I knew I was losing, but after that failed charge, I was like, oh okay, well, like again, like if you fail a charge, especially something like Angron, that would have
Sure.
killed. It would have picked up 3 units. It is what it is though. But yeah, and then the second match, and this is a funny thing I learned, or this is a funny thing I realized on like in this moment. My second match, I got table choice. I was playing against Tao. Felt very confident. I picked a great table that had a lot of terrain to help me stage deployment, and then out in the wild, search and destroy. Very small deployment. I was living the dream. What I didn't consider was even though I grabbed good terrain that would stage me, I didn't look at that terrain with the objectives in mind. All three objectives in No Man's Land were completely in the open. So my staging was irrelevant because if I wanted to score, I don't have, like, there's no chaff. There's chaff. Even jackals aren't really chaff in world leaders. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, there's not enough of them to take because you're taking
Absolutely.
so much 8-bound or a rhino and berserkers or whatever. So yeah, that was unfun. But the next three games, I smashed pretty good. It felt really good. It was like even though the team didn't do too well, we all had a blast. It was a really great time. If you've never done a team tournament Warhammer, please give it a shot. And I know I had this whole thing in the beginning. I don't think Votann are a good place for teams tournaments. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Like don't care. Don't if like it like we were trying to do well, like truly.
Yep.
And so that's why we took that into consideration. But like don't
Well,
go too hard in like the meta aspect of it. Play what you want to play, still have fun, still do well. It'll be great, you know.
for sure. And not only that, but with these new Jaegers, maybe that sentiment might change.
You know, let's just talk about Jaeger stuff, and then I think maybe talk about state of Votann stuff
Heck
because
yeah.
I think that's really exciting. If you've been somehow living under a rock, or you're not in the Votann Discord, which I will have a link to in the show notes. Also, please come join us. You may not know that we just got released the data sheets for our new Hernkyn Yaegers, and so this is from Kill Team. I think Termination is the box.
I think so.
Yeah, and so this is Votann, a Votann salvage crew or pioneer crew actually going against Gene Stealer Brew Brothers, and so the models are essentially, and you know what? Yeah, I'll pop up an image here of it when we get in.
Sure.
But the models are essentially our pioneers that we see on the bikes on foot.
They're
The
incredible.
models look so cool. It is kind of funny though, GP. I don't know if you feel this way, dude, but like there is something funny to me about having a sci-fi futuristic armor and then having a coat over it.
No, you listen. Here's the thing.
Right?
All of Votann, they are extreme capitalists. They're out there, they're collecting their bread, brother. They're getting resources. There's no shot that these masters of capital aren't showing off the drip. You think they're not going to show off these long coats? You think they're not going to walk up there and flex with their brand new Nikes? You're
Dude.
out of your mind.
That's
It's
amazing.
Balenciaga coats on top of armor all day. Because if it gets shot, they can afford another one. Who cares, baby? Put the coat out there.
Wow. Yes, truly, the drip is real. They look awesome. It is a little unfortunate they don't have a million different gun options like their kill team setup is, because they do have some cool looking guns. But yeah, let's go. What the stats that they do have, right?
Yeah.
We're talking 6-inch movement, toughness 5, 1 wound, leadership 7, like the whole army, OC 1, base save of 5, which is
Shout out to that
rough.
6-inch movement, though.
6-inch movement, the fastest moving foot unit in the army right now. We have some really cool abilities. The biggest being infiltrators. They are infiltrators,
Yep.
which is huge for the army because I feel like one of the things a lot of people will shut us down with are other infiltrators, are other scouts, or other things that like kind of can move, block, and roadblock us, right?
The infiltrators is like one of the most massive rules that Votann could have gotten. It's
Truly,
incredible.
truly. Well,
We'll get into that more later.
Yes. And then a reactive move, which is kind of cool. Pragmatic Hunters. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 of this unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to D6. Which is, you know, I personally am not a fan of reactive moves in Warhammer. I will say that out loud now. I'm not. I think any aspect of the game where you have a rule on your unit that effectively shuts off your opponent from playing the game, which I feel like in a way reactive move kind of does. I'm not the biggest, like anti-shooting, like untargetable things, like forcing, like sisters have that force a unit to fight another unit thing. Some of those are kind of cool, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. And also, I don't know. This look in my head, this sounds amazing, but also D6 can be 1 or 6, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I agree, but I have a slightly different take. I think that the reactive moves are harmful because I think they can affect accessibility. So you'll have folks that aren't playing in a ton of events, and every time a unit has a built-in or a caked-in reactive move, it's a almost mandatory gotcha to opponents
yes,
that aren't used to those armies because you're just like, oh, I just didn't know it did that
yeah,
because my army just doesn't have that rule, and it's like, well, sorry, that's the rule, right? But
right,
they can feel
yeah,
bad, and they make the
yeah.
game take longer. But
It is. It is
whatever.
my. It does take. You know why it makes the game take longer? My favorite is when I play Grey Knights and I'm World Leaders. I'll move one of my guys. I'm like, do you want a reactive? And clearly
Oh,
I'm baiting, and they're like, no. I move another one. I'm like, do you want a reactive? Still baiting. They're like, no. And I'll move another thing. I'm like, you want a reactive? They're like, yes. I'm like, great. Well, you're gonna reactive, and I move these two things first. So I'm gonna get the charge no matter what. So it's like it's such a silly. It's like they have the gotcha with it, and I have a gotcha where I'm trying to bait it. It's like so.
oh yeah,
It's very silly, but whatever. We have a reactive move. This
yep.
could still be really good to set us up as a safety measure, protecting our scouts, protecting some points, maybe even for once in our lives playing it. Well, we can't play jail. We can't play like a wolf jail because these guys will fall over to a stiff breeze. Uh, but it is what it is. But yeah, cool data sheet. And so for
Mm-hmm.
guns, they all come base loadout with the bolt shotguns. Assault, 18-inch range, 2 attacks each, 4 up, strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage. So with a mandatory unit of 10, if everyone just had the shotguns, we'd be looking at 20 shots on 4s, 5. Yeah, not very good. Could
Yep.
be not terrible in the chaff, but not very good in general. You could switch out, I think it's any number. Yeah, all models in a unit can have their bolt shotgun replaced with a bolt revolver and a plasma knife. The plasma knife is nice. It is nice. It is. I feel like it's a little bit of an overstep that this isn't the melee data sheet on the bikes themselves. But the plasma knife is 2 attacks each, 4
Yep.
up weapon skill, strength 4, AP 2, 1 damage.
Yep. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the knives. Realistically, right? And let's just be honest looking at this unit here. Neither weapon's going to kill a lot, right?
No,
But
no, no, no.
it really depends on how you're going to use them for which weapon type you're going to use. Right
Yes,
now, on those shotguns, in a world that we're in, 18-inch assault guns for this unit, depending on the points, that's a really good little action monkey. Um, I agree on the knives. I think in a world where we still have access to Warrior Pride and we can just randomly sometimes pump those to AP4,
pretty funny.
especially considering a
Pretty
reactive move
funny.
and you can position yourself behind a wall
Yeah,
and just get a counter charge off. You can threaten all sorts of little things. I
yeah,
like the knives.
very funny. And I feel like you're probably gonna take 9 guys with knives because there are 2 other weapon choices. One I don't see ever being useful: the Magna Coil rifle, ignore cover
Mm,
precision. Cool that we finally have ignore cover precision. I wish the
sure.
whole unit had access to it, but 24-inch range, 1 shot, 4 at BS, strength 5, AP 2 damage. It would have been really cool if this acted like a scouts and everyone could have a rifle, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Or the APM launcher, anti-monster 3 up, anti-vehicle 3 up. This is nice because we have no anti-monster, even though, again, only one person can take it. Would be super cool if we could have a bunch of them, like an anti-monster squad. 24-inch range, 1 attack, BS4, strength 6, AP2 D6. Casinos are real in Votann.
Yeah, so this is my take on the weapons. The special, well, and the unit in its entirety, I guess.
Late on.
I think this is going to be one of those units that come either our codex or the next codex. This is going to be a unit that can be taken in 5s. I think they're
It is kind of
making us
silly,
take
right?
it.
That it's not 5s.
I think they're making us take it in 10s because this is how it's going to come in the box with Kill Team, and you're just going to have 10. They're only giving you this many. But if we could have taken them in units of 5, then if you could have taken one of either special weapon per 5, and you could have had like a unit of 5 with the matter gun or
Yeah.
the missile thing.
Yeah.
If 2 units of 5 each with a missile, it's pretty good.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I think
We'll
a
see.
unit of 5 is really good for also are infiltrate. So I think all of this is kind of moot because as of
Yep.
now, as we're sitting here, Friday, May 31st, 9:50 a.m.
Hmm.
There
Hmm.
are no points for it. I think
Yeah.
they haven't put up points yet because technically the box isn't out yet. They want us to get excited a little bit. In my head, I think that's how they're doing it. Once the box is officially released, then they'll hopefully give us points. They don't want anyone proxying, I guess. I This could all be either awesome or bad anyway, depending how
Yeah.
the points are.
So
Right?
I'm going to be bold. Let's be gambling men
Ooh,
right
let's
now.
see.
All right.
Ooh, 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 lay it
Let's
on
be
me.
risky gambling men. Do you want to take a shot in the dark for what you think the points value should be? And if you want to go second, I'll go first. But I just want to see.
So I am at heart GP an optimist. It
Okay.
is kind of a funny thing about me.
Okay.
I'm like an internal optimist. I'm almost always optimistic. I am very pessimistic on the points on this one. I am thinking they're gonna be like 115 or something.
Yeah, it's funny. So, because for me, let's run some parallels, right? We have Space Marine Scouts, which are a similar number of wounds and a similar, amount of effective shooting. They have a even better uppy downy ability than these. And how much are Scouts? Like 60 points for five?
I'm actually bringing it up right now because I actually I hate I almost hate doing any sort of like
Binary army comparison. I agree.
and only because though are they called what are they called? Are they called tactical scouts? What are they
I think they're
called?
just Scouts. Primaris Scouts.
I can't find them. Oh, Scout Squad. Okay.
There you go.
Uh oh god, dude, 20. Oh no, they're not. Wait, where's the points at on
Forbidden Russian website, top right.
Forbidden Russian website? Uh Top right. Why is that showing? Oh, okay, yes. 5 miles 65 points, 10 miles 130 points.
Yeah. So I mean, 65 points for
No
those.
one's taking 10 miles. Yes, exactly.
Correct.
You
And
exactly.
then
Yeah, yeah.
the other parallel is Orc Commandos.
Oh god.
And those are 140 points, but they have a mortal wounds bomb and they have other things. I think they're 140 points. Now,
135, yeah.
135. Okay.
You have to
Now,
take 10, yeah.
you have to take 10. And they have a similar stat line, I think. T5, 5 up.
T5, 5 up, 1 wound, 6-inch move. Yeah, almost. We are literally. Oh my god, we are literally Orc Commandos.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad.
So, with that, I agree with the pessimism to a degree.
They're gonna be higher.
Historically, Votann infantry are statted very, very poorly. Their points are always way too high. It took them up until the most recent data slate to bring warriors down to 10 points per model. I'm assuming this is going to come in 110 points. At 110 points, I don't know if I like them as much as other things. I would probably still take them over like one warrior unit. Here's my take.
Lay it on me. Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
If they're at 100 points, they're great. You're going to take them at 100 points.
Yeah.
If they're 120 or above, you'll probably take one unit just for the strat, but you'll never take more than that.
I don't even know if I at 120. I don't know if I'd even take one, dude.
Yeah, it's rough. If they're under 100, they're phenomenal. You probably always take two. They're incredible.
I think if we're living in the 100 to 120 range, I would take one just for the staging presence, literally just to protect some of my scout moves myself. Especially, on some missions we have the terrain facing in or out. We have terrain facing a certain way. Like there are some missions where no matter what, which no man's objective you're going for to stage, to hide. Sure. Might have an L behind it. You're almost always going there. In those moments when people put infiltrators in front of you in that spot, it's devastating. It is truly like it is a make or break moment. Sure, we can move in our normal phase, we go first and shoot them, but we're not going to get as much space as we wanted to, and that is like that could really make or break a game right in that moment. So in those times, yes, going against orcs, going against Tyranids, going against world leaders, going against Space Wolves, going against a lot of armies. That yes.
My other favorite is the Votann Mirror.
Votann. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Thank you. Yes. Votann Mirror. Holy shit.
Yeah, whoever has the scouts or the infiltrates, if you can block off all your opponent's Sagittars, which don't even get me started, the absolute crime that these boys can't be split by a Sagittar.
I know
If I could
why.
give a Sagittar infiltrate, put these in them, move them around, oh,
Oh,
game over.
that's why you can't, because then the Sagittar will get the infiltrate keyword, right?
Probably.
Oh, I think that's what it is, right? No, no, yeah, it would, because that's the rule. If every model in the unit has a keyword, if it goes in transport, it's transport. That's why like some you can give some transports scout. That's why, dude. That's why you
You can put
can't,
them in a
because
land fort.
dude, that would be so busted. Can you? Oh my god, can you imagine?
Oh, yeah, just
Uh,
having a bunch of Sagittars right up in your opponent's grill. That'd be great.
I hope I'm right about that, because I'm not gonna sound like an idiot, but I think that is
I think
the
it's
way
true
that
for
it
Scout.
works.
I don't know if it's always true for
It's probably not.
Infiltrate.
It's probably not true for infiltrate. It's probably
There
yeah, for
is
scout.
wonky
Yeah,
rules like that, though.
but like there are some use cases where if these are pointed right, you take 2 units, you could
Yep.
block the entirety of essentially a fast, especially a fast melee arm. You can block the whole thing, and then they're just stuck. They're just stuck in the middle, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
very good for a shooting army specifically, especially in this world of, dude. We're seeing the numbers of space wolves, of orcs, of. It's like crazy how good space wolves have been doing this. This wolf
They're
gym
very
shit
good.
is so
Yeah, the
dumb.
Wolf Tide.
You just had that crazy swarm list win in Texas from Sam Pope. Like there is a lot
Shout
of
out Sam,
fast,
teammate. Love him.
dude. I mean, if there's ever a masterclass Tyranids player, Samuel Pope,
He's
dude.
also just a great dude. He's going to show up with his pink cowboy hat every game.
It's truly a gentleman in the rough, like
Hmm.
what a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a gamer.
The he's a gamer. There are a lot of use cases for this, and I think if the points are right, I'm feeling good about them, even though they will die to a stiff rate. But there are some units that exist in this game that exist to do a single thing, and then they're dead. Like if they can
It,
score for you,
yes.
they're giving you so many bonus points. But
Listen,
quite frankly, like yeah,
and that's my thing with these Jaegers, right? With the idea of, which is funny because it's just German for warrior. So these are our second units of warriors that we just have. We don't
that's
need to talk about that.
hilarious.
But if they come in at like 80 or 90 points, a unit of 10 of
I
these
would
with
die.
knives, I friggin' love them.
I would
Being able to
die.
infiltrate them either directly in front of my opponent, where it's like, hey, you have to shoot 2 units of these off the table. You can't move. Now I have second lines of defense for my Sagittars and or my Hecaton land fortresses. You can't push in. I'm gonna move up. It's gonna give all of my Hearthguard that extra turn to have that space to deep strike exactly where I want. And not only that, because they're so cheap, if you want to shoot them, great. You're getting tokens. I can apply tokens to separate units to prepare for that, put them on more trash so I can more effectively gain my early CP. But if
Yes.
you don't want to shoot them because I'm going to infiltrate them in a position that's going to bring you out into the open so that I can shoot you, if I have knives on them, great. I'm just going to charge you and I'm going to force you to kill them. Either you kill them or I make you kill them. The thing with the guns for me is that you can get there, you can maybe fire off some pot shots with the shotguns, but with the direct melee weapons, you can kind of force more of those open charges
Yeah,
and really
I'm
wrap into
almost
people.
certainly. I think my loadout. I think a lot of the loadout that a lot of people have been discussing is 9 guys with the plasma knives and pistol, 1 guy with the anti-vehicle, anti-monster. Like,
Yep.
you know what? If I could shoot some Sagittars or a Hecaton into a vehicle or monster, and then finish it off maybe with this guy, even though it's again another casino cannon. Cool. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Awesome. I think time will tell. I feel like next week will not next week. Pre-orders are technically this Saturday, so we won't see these for another couple weeks.
Yep.
In a
Yep.
couple weeks, I feel like we'll see points,
Yep.
and unless they actually may do an MFM before then, because didn't we just got another book, didn't we? No, am I crazy?
Um,
No, maybe we won't.
no, it's going to be Sisters and Gene Stealer Cult soon.
Right, so we won't have an MFM. Okay, so maybe in a couple weeks we'll see the points. Maybe they'll release the points for it. If not, it'll be the next MFM. We're probably not playing with these for a month or so at least, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
at the very least. I
It'll
already
take
had
me time
20 of
to
them.
buy all the ones that show up on eBay anyway.
Well, I got 3 people that are Kill Team players that bought the boxes, and I'm buying the Votann. So I will have at least 30, which I
Oh, good
think
for
is
you.
a good just to have,
Yeah.
right? Um, it would be so cool if they are. There's no world they're under 90 points, but like, oh, I would die. I would die,
Oh,
GB.
yeah.
That
If
would
they
be
were
so
80,
cool.
they'd be so good.
That'd be so cool. I would
80 would
gladly
be
take
massive.
3 units of those over a couple bikes. I'm not kidding you because I feel like they would do the same. They would have the same idea as bikes in a way. In that case, uh,
Yeah, I mean, just prisoning your opponent in with like 2 units of trash, pretty good.
it's
Especially
amazing,
with Votann, where you're getting a tangential benefit from them being killed.
truly. Yeah, I'm excited to see our little dripped out dwarf lords there. They look cool.
Oh, so much swag.
Cool. I think so. And then another point I'd like to talk about are just like kind of the state of Votann we're looking at right now. Again, I can't wait for another making fun of by in the Discord for me caring about stats at all. But you know what? I feel like I have no. I don't even need. I'm not giving an excuse right now. Okay, I
Oh,
don't care.
yeah, own it.
I like looking. I like looking at the
I
numbers.
love
Okay.
math.
Uh, Votan right now, we're looking at a 46% win rate in the meta, which sounds low, but
Yep.
quite frankly, I feel like the numbers are like 46 to like 52 are supposed to be the sweet spot
Yeah,
of a meta.
it's where they want us to be.
Yeah, and you know what? Like it is what it is. I think, quite frankly, Votan is the way it is more so because of codex creep over them not being a good army.
Yep.
There are, and I, we have talked about this till the cows come home. There are some unfortunate bits about Votan, which mostly are the inconsistency of shooting
Hmm.
in between baseline BS of 4 up, between God, if there's a modifier that exists anywhere in the game, token or not, we're going back to 4 or potentially even 5 sometimes, which is devastating when that happens.
Yeah, you better hope you're not shooting Shadow Specters.
Dude, oh my God, like kill me. Or like you're in melee with a Nurgling. You know what I
Yep.
mean? In contagion with a Nurgling, shoot me, please, you know?
Yep.
Um uh but and then also the inconsistency of some of the guns. And so I feel like what we are seeing a shift, a little more of a shift over from mass Sagittar, spamming Sagittars to seeing some of our hecatons out in the field of battle. And I feel like this is twofold. For one, there is more consistency with shooting. The hecaton, for all of its kind of quirks, does have, even outside of the main gun, quite a bit of consistent either 6 or 7 damage, AP 2 damage, AP 1 2 damage between either the matter or the bolt cannons.
Yeah, and
It's a lot
against
of
a
guns.
lot of the weapons that are out there right now, it's also going to just survive the pot shots back.
Survivability.
I don't
Yes.
have the math for you on hand right now, but your Sagittars are not staying alive against any Gladiator Reapers or anything out there. A land fort very well may.
With access to void armor, with access to being in cover, we are looking at that thing still saving on a 2 up against AP 2. That is, quite frankly, massive. Saving on a 4 up against AP 4. That is that's good stuff to have. And I feel like in this world also where and then also we actually back to the other part about the guns is that you're gonna mostly see the conversion beamer.
Yep.
A flat damage 4 is nice. 2 shots with a stance D3 with conversion when you're shooting over 12. It's a crit, so you'll get those extra D3 shots on a 4 up.
Mm-hmm.
That is nice. That is nice. A flat damage gun is wonderful.
It's great.
Um,
Can I give you a fun little anecdote about the land fort?
I can't wait. You lay it on me.
So in our practice games for BFS, I tested a 3 land fort game against my teammate Tony, who was playing Custodes. Shout out Tony. Um, Unfortunately, I was not as mindful of my land fort positioning as I should have been. I had him bring in a full squad of Custodes. They took out one of my land forts in melee after 2 turns. My land fort then explodes
Oh
I get a
no.
6-inch mortal wound into my next land fort, which then
No.
explodes
Shut up.
and does another
Shut
6
up.
mortal wounds. It
Shut up.
cascaded, and him killing that one land fort killed my second land fort, and then proceeded to kill all like four Sagittars all around them. It
Shut
was the
up.
funniest cascading bomb, just because I inched about an inch and a half too far in one direction and just was not paying enough attention. It
Oh,
was the
buddy.
funniest sequence of events. We were screaming and dying. It was so funny.
I bet you that, well, I want to sit here and say I bet you that won't happen again, but we both know it will. But that did give you a good lesson in positioning, right? And
It
that's
did, yeah.
positioning your
You'll
camp.
never forget. Those moments of shame, they stick with you harder than anything. I'll tell you what.
Truly, truly, truly. There, I still think that there is a world that a single Magna Rail isn't, especially if you're taking 3 hecatons.
Yeah,
I think 2 beamers and a Magna Rail is warranted.
I think it can be
BS4
fine.
to a 3. I think, listen, a rail cannon D6 plus 6 damage can do a lot of work to a lot of enemies, right?
Sure.
The problem, you're just going to get more consistency out of the beamers. So, consistent guns,
Yep.
a durable platform,
Yep.
OC5. I
Pretty
quite
good.
frankly think that portion of it is why you're taking a hecaton in this meta. If you
Yeah.
park a hecaton, um, in if you position it in a way where they won't get max of their squad on the point, and you could out OC them either with warriors also on the point in a way behind them so that they can't be charged, they can't be consolidated into. You could hopefully, well, that's if they kill the Lanford. That would change the subject. That would change the conversation though if they're killing it. But if
Sure.
you can keep your warriors out of charge, out of shooting, out of pile in,
Mm-hmm.
so you're looking at 15 with 5 warriors on the point. You're looking at 15 OC on a point,
Pretty good.
which is pretty dang good. I think our mindset needs to shift a little bit in that, yes, does this have good guns? Is it consistent guns or more consistent? Nothing is consistent in our army, unfortunately. They're more consistent. That's awesome. But these things need to be existing as a blocking of points. They will live on a point. They will live. Like they will stay. They will live so much more than a couple, even a couple Sagittars on the point. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I think that's the kind of the mind shift where. So like, personally, my lists have changed. That I'm looking at 4 Sagittars, 2 hecatons. If I didn't take a 10 brick every time of Hearthguard, I would look at a third hecaton personally. I would, but
Sure.
my playstyle personally, I value too much a single brick of 10.
It's one of those
Ten,
things that I
Hearthguard.
think people need to think about, right? Like the average midfield skirmish units. You're looking at some scout units, maybe a unit of 8 bound, some spawn, a couple other things. People that are taking midfield objectives are typically not taking them with huge bricks of their OC10 infantry. They're fighting you with
Yes,
pieces of elite units.
yes,
So a land fort being able to go OC5, a unit of spawn is never going to beat it. They can lock you
never,
in. You
never.
can have 5 random dudes coming at you. That's fine. They're not going to take that objective from you. It
No.
gives you a lot of that free room that other units just aren't compensating and giving you.
Yes, agreed. And I feel like that is how we have to think about playing them. And yeah, I will say I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna get some Votann games in. I'm going to Atlantic City Open, which I'm really excited for. I am bringing world leaders to it. I think the only thing that would change about me actually, if I were to take Votann, is if literally we got the points today for the Jaegers. I would consider taking Votann. But I've just been playing so many world leaders because of BFS that I just my mindset is stuck on that. But after that, I'm gonna go back to some Votann. I'm really excited to play some Jaegers. I'm excited to play a couple forts, which I didn't think I'd be saying in 10th edition until our book came, I guess, unless they like dropped the points drastically for them. But yeah, the list I just built up: Call Grim, Champ Glare, set of 10 warriors, two berserks. I think the berserks are good always
I've
in
been
this
seeing
meta.
people using berserks a lot more lately.
I've seen someone had a list the other day of 10 berserks in a hecaton. I was like, yo, go off.
Good for
Like
them.
that is before the Custodians and Minor Necron nerf. I was contemplating a 10 brick of Berserks and Hecaton because I feel like against Custodians and Wraiths that actually would have done some work.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I watched at my RTT over the last weekend. I watched a Votann player use them to great success with axes against arcoflagellants. They
oh
would
yeah,
just
that sounds
they
right.
just wiped the squad. It was
Yeah,
really good. And
yeah.
arcoflagellants are a pain in the ass lately. If you've been playing
Pain in the ass.
against any amount of local sister players, they're all taking at least 30 of them.
30. Oh my god. I mean, it's like a must-have for the army. Really, it's like kind of nuts. But
Sisters are
yeah,
real good.
so yeah, two berserks, a 10 brick of Hearthguard, two Hecaton with beamers, and 3x3 bikes. And I feel like that is a nice, well-rounded army. I feel like if and that's it's at 1970 points wise, right?
Mm.
If it comes in that the points are like 100 or so, I'd probably take out a single bike squad to fit in one unit, right? If we're looking at like fat points,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, or like fat points in the sense of like they're really cheap. I don't know what I would take out in that list, like to take two.
As a quick aside, we recently did have a small points change for Votann where the
Yes.
Warriors
Yep.
got a little bit cheaper, right? So they
Yes.
went from 110
Yeah.
to 100.
Yeah. Little. I wish they did that so much sooner, but yes, we're now finally at 100-point Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah, it. Listen, I appreciate the change. In all of my lists, it didn't meaningfully do anything. It just made it so I get to take an enhancement. Which, hey, I'm happy to have a praise and glare on calls that otherwise didn't have it.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but it's one of those situations where we're still suffering from not having a full release. So when nothing else changed, didn't end up making too many adjustments. But it's just good to see that they were willing to make those changes, right? Because Warriors, they're still just not doing anything. Granted, I'm saying that. I did see that same Votann player that had the Berserks. Somehow, homie rolled hot on like two warrior squads that he had with the Gatling guns on them, and he
Oh
killed
my
a
God.
he killed a squad of sisters off a point. I was like, that's the I stopped their game, and I was like, I just have to tell you, this is the first time I've seen a warrior do any
Do anything.
damage.
Yeah. Well, dude, in ninth edition, oh my God, I had Magna Rails galore on all warrior squads. Jeez, it felt so
Sure.
good to do something with that gun. It's like so unfortunate how they're BS5, but I think I am excited to see what happens post points drops for Votann. I don't think it'll change too much in regards to like them winning anything here and there, but I do think that it will make the army a little bit more fun because it will just completely hard stop the counter of other infiltrators and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, I know I haven't been playing Votann in a bit, but they're still my favorite army. I just want more for them, and I'm really excited to get more. And who knows when that day will come? Probably next year at this point, in regards to when we get our book, which is it is what it is. Hopefully, points just keep changing up in a way that it makes it a little bit better here and there.
Agreed.
But they're the best, and I love them.
Yep. Short
And
kings all day.
Short Kings for life. And then also if you want to check that, as of today, Warhammer Community just did a really beautiful, like painters exhibition on the community page for Kill Team Termination, and there's some really cool painted Jaegers and Brood Brothers up there.
Oh, love that.
Oh yeah, like some really, dude, the camo cloak on the sniper guy. How bad I wish they all just were snipers with this camo cloak. It
Yeah.
looks really cool. Maybe in the future, it is what it is. Who knows what the future will hold for our Short
That's the thing
Kings?
with these kill team boxes. Sometimes it's just a base thing. Sometimes the main box ends up being different. So again, I stand by. This is one of those units where if they come out and you can take them in units of 5 in a year or two, that's going to be a good
It's gonna be
friggin'
awesome.
little unit.
That's gonna be awesome. Do you have any events coming up? Are you're not doing ACO, are you?
No, unfortunately, there was. I know a couple of my teammates were going. I do think that they just announced they're doing Purge of the Foe as the last mission, which is real stinky. But I'm not going to ACO for now. We did have a couple of GTs planned, but unfortunately, a huge staple shop in southern Massachusetts, Games and Friends, just announced they were closing their doors.
Oh,
So
that's a bummer.
yeah, big shout out. They were a huge staple. They held so many great events. Here's looking to Todd for him hosting, him and Riley, some fantastic events with all the locals out there for the Games and Friends in Springfield, Mass. So those events right now, we're not looking at. The Portal in Manchester, Connecticut does have a GT coming up at the end of June.
Oh,
Folks are
nice.
looking for something in the New England area. You can look at the Portal. Unfortunately, I have a wedding that same weekend, so I got skunked.
It is
Um,
what it is.
but I'm just having
It do
fun.
be like that. Hell
I've
yeah,
been
dude.
taking a mix of all my armies to assorted events. I'm trying to hit up more RTTs. I actually, one of my other local shops just started a competitive league. And
Oh,
I'm
hell
probably
yeah.
going to, I haven't decided what army I'm going to take just yet. I'm really excited to see what changes might happen with the Gene Stealer Cult Codex. Maybe play some more of my little Rotten Boys, but we'll see.
Hell yeah,
What
dude.
about you? You got any big ones planned?
ACO. I actually summer's gonna be fun. I have ACO. I have Nova, and
Oh,
which
Nova's always fun.
Nova's always fun. For those you know, Nova's a big one that happens down in Washington D.C. Really excited about Nova. I have a lot of the homies are going to ACO.
Nice.
Like it's it's gonna be a wild, it's gonna be a wild time. You may not see me playing much. I
It's
don't
going to be a
know.
boys' trip.
It's gonna be the boys are back in town. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited. I've never done Nova, and all I've ever heard is that it is such a well run and very fun event. So I'm
It's huge, yeah.
super excited for Nova. Which that might be where I bring back Votann for, or or it might be where I debut. I just got a lot of Sisters of Battle in prep of the new Codex. Hilariously enough, to the dismay of my partner Mallory, I bought another army. So here we are. Here we are in my 1, 2, 3 in my 6 army land of owning. With that being said, I own 6 armies. Votann's still my number one. Can never can
Listen,
never drop him up. Bless those boys.
it's an
Uh,
aesthetic that other armies cannot match.
they can't match the drip. They
Yep.
can't match the drip.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, cool. Well, with that, I think. Do you have any things you want to leave us off on?
At the end of the day, folks, with the ebb and flow of all the rules that we have, remember, there is one part of Warhammer that's eternal, and that's painting. Paint your dolls. Take some time. Have some fun. Even if your rules change, the army you're playing change, you can sit here with your little satisfaction as you paint 40 little guys and just have fun. At the end of the day, there was a big Reddit thread that I saw a couple weeks ago on the Warhammer 40K subreddit where someone commented, sometimes I just like to go down into my office and just look at my display shelves of models. And I'll tell you what, you go down, you have a beer, you look at your shelf, and you have the tangible satisfaction of, wow, I made these. I did this. That's pretty cool. That's always satisfying. Paint your dolls, have some fun, play the game, roll some dice. It's a good hobby. Enjoy your friends.
Wow, dude, that was wonderful. I
You
love
know?
that. That was the most 100% right thing
All
I've
right,
ever
don't
heard in my
glaze
entire
me up
life.
too much. I'll start crying.
All right, everyone. Sorry again for the absence. We love you. Thank you so much for always listening and tuning in. Again, check the show notes for the Votann Discord. Coming out with us, GP and I are in there. Tons of really great people in there. Tons of resources in there. Super fun place to be.
We got a good
Um,
community.
good community. But as always, we appreciate you. And until the next one.
Have a good one, folks. Bye bye.
Peace.